Hey Credit Warriors, Credit Shifu here, and yes, today is the day. My birthday. Well, it is my birthday, but not only is it my birthday, also today is the day when Charles Schwab has ended commissions on stock trades of shares, ETFs, options, etc. They brought their commissions down to zero. Now they announced this last Tuesday. And since I've been with Schwab, the brokerage, they have been progressively lowering their commissions, okay? So they went from $12.95 when I was first a member a couple of years ago, then down to $7.95, then down to $4.95, and then finally last Tuesday they announced going down to zero. Now this immediately makes you think of the app Robinhood, okay? Now Robinhood, they are known for zero commissions. They're basically the ones that started it, actually. And they came in about 6 years ago. Now Robinhood, it seems really new, but actually it's actually 6 years old now, so it's been around for quite a while. They have about 6 million users, so that was their figure last year. They reached 6 million. The average age is 32, and on average they are first-time investors. So they've done a great job at attracting millennials and getting them into stock market investing and trading. And basically you can think of Robinhood as kind of like a gateway drug, all right, I would say. Most people are going to get into into stock trading with Robinhood, and then probably in the future, once they have larger amounts of deposits, they're probably going to go on to some full service brokerage. Maybe they'll keep a little bit in their Robinhood account, still do a bit of trading in it. But it really is sort of something that gets you on the road of stock market investing, and a big factor in that has been their 0% commission policy, or $0 commission policy. But things are changing. So here is a quote from UBS senior equity analyst Brennan Hawken, who told CNBC their business model is now in serious jeopardy. And also the CEO of Schwab has said they are bringing in, quote, hundreds of thousands of millennials each year. So yeah, basically it seems like they are taking market share back from Robinhood, and what they announced last Tuesday, $0 commissions, is the next step in basically starting to seriously compete with Robinhood. So Robinhood is a bit screwed. I mean, I think they've known this for about a year or two. Last year, they did try to bring in their new bank account, their 3% savings account, and it really totally backfired in their face. It wasn't FDIC insured. They tried to get insurance for it through SPIC or SIPC. I can't remember. I'll put it on the screen, the correct spelling of that acronym, of that abbreviation. And basically the money wouldn't be insured because it wasn't used for trading, it was a savings account. And so they had to shut that down, okay? And they did let you sign up with your email for something that they're going to be releasing in the future. Not quite sure what it is. But basically, I think they've known for some time that they need to diversify their product offerings because it's been a race to zero with all the other stock market brokerages, and they are being caught up with, okay? Everyone else is lowering their commissions, and sooner or later, lots of other companies are going to be providing zero commissions too. And actually, they already had some competition from other apps such as Webull, which also offers 0% commissions, but is better on charts and, statistics and information, actually better than Robinhood. So, they already had competition from other startups. Now they're getting competition from the established brokerages. But it isn't just Robinhood that was affected. So after Schwab announced this last Tuesday, all the other brokerages, well, several other brokerages, notably TD Ameritrade and E-Trade, also matched the $0 commission promise, okay? Now, the stock prices of all three of these brokerages, Charles Schwab, TD Ameritrade, and E-Trade, have dropped on this news. So TD Ameritrade went from $46. It dropped about 30% initially, but as of now, it's at $33, so it has come up a little bit. E-Trade, they went from 43 down and now have come up to about $36. And Charles Schwab was at 41 and they went down and they've come back up a little bit, up to about $35 as of now. So you can see Charles Schwab was the least affected by this. And this makes sense when you look at the following statistic that I'm going to give you. We're going to look at the percentage of income each of these three companies earns from commissions. So TD Ameritrade, the one that dropped the most, it's understandable when you consider that actually 28% of their income comes from commissions, okay? Now with E-Trade, 17% of their income is from commissions, so they dropped the second most. And with Charles Schwab, just 8% of their income comes from commissions, and they say that they feel it's only actually going to have a 3 to 4% effect on their profit. presumably because with zero commissions, they expect to get more customers and increase deposits, etc. So it's not going to affect the profit by 8%, it's only going to affect it by 3 to 4%. So it seems Charles Schwab has not only kind of devastated Robinhood, but they've also launched a serious attack on a couple of competitors as well. And the competitors have been forced to match them, but actually Charles Schwab is in a lot better condition to absorb the losses than TD Ameritrade and E-Trade, which might be seriously affected, and they may have to come out with some additional products to develop additional revenue streams in order to compensate for that. So they're kind of in trouble. Charles Schwab definitely looks like the most robust, and it has, I think, about $4 trillion on its books of investments, much more than the other two. Okay, now we've talked about how this has affected, Robinhood and the competition. Let's now talk about the advantages and disadvantages for investors of these zero commission trades. So a big advantage is that you can now invest effectively with smaller amounts of money. Okay, so if you want to try out some trading ideas with just maybe $100 at a time, and this is something I sometimes do using Webull, which is a zero commission app, I'll just do a trade for $100 and maybe sell it a few days later, zero commissions. If I make 3 or 4%, then actually, that's all profit, all right? But if you think about it, if you're trading with $100, when you buy, it's, let's take Charles Schwab's $4.95, so that's basically 5% when you buy and then 5% when you sell. So your profit on a trade, if you're using $100, would have to be over 10%, and that's quite high. So you really would not be able to trade effectively with small amounts of money. Now let's make it larger. Let's say we're trading with $1,000. It would be 0.5% when you buy and 0.5% when you sell, so 1% in total. It's not so much of a big effect, but that is still a little chunk of your profit. Okay, let's say your profit was 5%. All right, that's 20% of your profit gone. Okay, 1%. All right, is 20% of 5%. So it is still quite a thing to consider. It'll also be more advantageous for people who are just saving little bits of money every month. In the past, let's say you save $100 every month and you put it in a Schwab account, you wouldn't want to necessarily go and buy stocks every month. You'd want to let it build up until it's maybe $300, $400, $500, and then you pay the $4.95 to get that money into some stocks, because otherwise, if you just invest 100 at a time, you're losing 5% for each 100 you invest, okay? And let's say you're in a sort of like slightly below average year in the stock market. Stock market average is around 7% per year. Let's say it's about 5%. It's totally realistic. 5% could be your gain for that year. So it takes, it could take a whole year before you've actually even started to make money on the stock. Okay, you just have to cancel out the commission if you invest $100 at a time. So that's the big advantage. You can now invest and trade effectively with small amounts of money. However, there are some disadvantages for investors. Now, first of all, the zero commission policy, it kind of encourages you to change your strategy a little bit and move towards more high frequency trading. Okay, actually for a long time this has been the trend as brokerage started moving online, commissions coming down, ease of investing has increased dramatically, just clicking buttons. Frequency of trading has got higher, okay? It kind of pushes you in that direction. Now, you might say, well, there's nothing wrong with that if you are good at it, and that is true. Some people do make a lot of money by just being day traders. There's a load of YouTube channels online that you can check out of day traders talking about strategies, etc. It can be done with the effective strategies, but most people who try it actually fail. Okay, something like 80% of day traders lose money, all right, and then later quit. Okay, but also it increases your tax bill. Okay, so let's say you were making quite a bit of money as a more long-term investor. And then because of these 0% commissions, you switched your policy to doing more short-term, either day trading or short-term swing trades. And let's say that you end up making a similar amount of money, all right? However, your tax bill is going to increase because if you have not held a stock for 1 year and then you sell it, you will end up paying federal income tax rates, okay? Short-term capital gains rates, which are the same as federal income tax rates, on the sale of that stock. Whereas if you had held it for longer than a year, you would pay the long-term capital gains rates, which are 0, 15, and 20%. And that's versus, just take the highest one, 20%. The highest federal income tax rate, which is the same as short-term capital gains, is 37%. So almost double the rate in taxes, all right? And with long-term capital gains, if you're married filing jointly, you can actually earn up to $78,000 and pay 0 in capital gains tax. So that is definitely something to consider. If day trading increases your income, then it may be a good thing, even though you're paying higher taxes. But if you simply switch your strategy to short-term trading or day trading, but you make a similar amount of money to long-term investing, then it's actually going to be a bad thing for you because you just probably doubled your tax bill, okay? So that's definitely something to consider. Another thing to consider, well, actually kind of two things, is that because they've lowered the commissions, are they going to start taking away benefits other areas of the business? For Charles Schwab, they have a very good debit card that has 0 ATM fees. I would hate to see that benefit go away because that's really, really useful. So I hope that they don't start taking away benefits such as that. In addition, there's another thing, how the orders are routed. Okay, so brokers can actually route orders differently in different ways, which enables them to get a different, like a little bit of a commission off of the stock price. Okay, and it's called the difference between the bid and ask spread. Okay, and they can do it differently to make just a tiny little bit of profit off of each trade, even though they're not charging a commission. Now, this is actually bad for the trader because it can mean that you're not getting as good a price as you should be getting for that stock, okay? The quote you get isn't as good because of how the trade is routed. Now, for long-term investors, this probably doesn't really make much of a difference, but for short-term traders, day traders, etc., those small little bits of lost value are going to add up and could result in quite a large loss of money. So Warrior Trading has a video where they explain this a lot better than I can. In fact, they have videos on all 3 of the brokerages that lowered their commissions to 0 recently. So I'll put the links to that probably in a pinned comment down below or something. You can check that out. It's more applicable if you are a day trader. So, if you are, you might like to check that out. My personal view is that I don't really care that they've eliminated commissions. I was fine with $4.95. Normally I wouldn't invest less than $500. But it is still welcomed because obviously any reduction in commission is welcome, but it's welcome as long as they don't get rid of any of their other perks like the 0% APM fee debit card, which is really, really useful. If they get rid of that, well, I'd be happy for them to go back up to $4.95 again to bring that perk back, okay? So guys, that's my thoughts. Please leave your thoughts below. As always, please subscribe if you're new. We've been doing quite a few personal finance and investing videos on this channel recently, and I think I'm gonna keep going with that because I like expanding in this kind of content. It actually reaches a larger audience, and I'm trying to grow the channel and build it a little bit bigger. We've been lagging a little bit recently. So if you like this video, please give it a like, okay? It really helps with the YouTube algorithm. Please leave a comment as well. It's great to see engagement. I'm really trying to grow the channel recently. Thank you so much, guys. Please subscribe if you're new. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye.